And I get that. And it's not just tattooing, right? It's every fucking business now. Whether you're a restaurant or a hair salon or a bar, you have to have this whole wing of your business now dedicated to creating, attention-seeking content. And then posting it and then fighting the algorithm, paying for ads, all this stuff. Have your online presence, your content, and it's got to be, more attention getting and more attention seeking than everyone else's content. And it's turned the whole fucking world into a bunch of theater kids, right? Like, that's why everything's so fucking, retarded.
I think people get tattooed because, there's not a lot of real stuff left in the world. And it's all like the 24-hour news cycle. Nothing lasts. With tattooing, it's blood, it's pain, it's permanence. When you get that needle in your skin for the first time, you have to be there. You can't just call it in. You have to sit there and take the pain, and then sit there and heal it. And then you got to live with the consequences of your action.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the East West Podcast with your host, Horisumi, on this lovely day, which is Saturday, the 31st of August, 2024. Had to think about that for a second. So, I got a few things to talk about today. One of the things I've been seeing a lot of people talk about online, and that I've been thinking about too, is, if you want to be, a successful tattooer, if you're up and coming and you don't have a name for yourself yet, or you've got a studio, it seems these days you have to also be a content creator. It's not enough just to be a good tattooer anymore, to be a good artist, to be a good drawer. You got to make content, right? And, as someone who has been making content for a long time, I used to write for Inked Magazine for several years. I had a monthly column in Inked Magazine. I've made a few documentaries on the shop. So a documentary made on me. I've made a lot of video clips on my tattooing and my process. I'm not against content creation. I think it's cool, right? I think it's cool to show people what you do. I'm passionate about tattooing. I've done lectures at the art gallery, lectures at tattoo conventions, presentations at the Japanese Foundation. These kind of things that are educational, and they illuminate the public, right? They make tattooing look good, right? I think. And the content that I make is, shows the process, shows what I do. It's cool, right? I mean, that kind of stuff I think is great. I think if tattooers did that, that'd be fucking awesome, right? And what I'm seeing, though, is a lot of, silly TikTok content around tattooing, like super cringy stuff, And I know a lot of people feel that they need to do that. And a lot of tattooers are DMing me going, it's fucked, right? I don't want to do socials. I'm not good at socials. I just want to tattoo. And I get that. And it's not just tattooing, right? It's every fucking business now. Whether you're a restaurant or a hair salon or a bar, you have to have this whole wing of your business now dedicated to creating, attention-seeking content. And then posting it and then fighting the algorithm, paying for ads, all this stuff. Have your online presence, your content, and it's got to be, more attention getting and more attention seeking than everyone else's content. And it's turned the whole fucking world into a bunch of theater kids, right? Like, that's why everything's so fucking, retarded, to use the R word. I see some of this tattoo content, and I'm just like, who are you appealing to with this, right? We're not tattooing 12-year-olds, I think that tattoo content that shows the process and shows tattooing in a good light, I think that's cool. I think it's good, but making silly stuff, making fun of your customers, right? Making fun of, your clients is generally bad business, right? And making fun of tattooing in general, there's a lighthearted way to make fun of tattooing for sure. But demeaning tattooing and, there's just so much stuff out there that it's like, it's all just getting kind of ridiculous, and I don't think it's particularly a good direction that we're all going in, tattooing, from what I'm seeing now in the world, the people that have less disposable income, walk-ins, big tattooing is still coming in the door. We're still busy with big work, but the small stuff seems to have slowed down. And we can attribute that to people not having cash, you know, a lot more tattoo shops, a lot more tattooers out there, a lot more backyard tattooers, tattooing from home and stuff. But also maybe the, you know, the shine has come off tattooing a little bit, right? You know, if you see enough people with armfuls of shitty sticker outline stuff, you know, it's like, ugh, right? And people are just kind of turned off by it. It doesn't look at tattoo, it doesn't sell tattooing in a real good way, you know. And then if you pair that with all these tattoo shops and young tattooers making these cringy, silly TikTok style videos about tattooing or mocking tattooing or what it is to be a tattooer, you know, it all becomes a fucking joke, right? And generally, you know, tattooing used to be cool, right? That's why people wanted it. Because it was cool, it was mysterious, it was edgy, it was dangerous, you know, it was powerful, right? These are the things that, or sexy, you know? These were the things that drew people to tattooing, right? And by commodifying and having all these 1, 2, 3 year tattooers making ridiculous content about tattooing, you know, I don't think it's good for the gestalt of tattooing. You know, I mean, it's like this little cancer growing in tattooing. And I get people need attention, right? Everyone's trying to outdo each other to get eyes on their content, eyes on their social media. I don't know what the answer is, man. I'm just bringing attention to the fact that it's fucking disgusting. You know, like the content that we create here, like my podcast, you know, I try to entertain and have fun, but I'm not, you know, I'm not doing anything for shock value or silly factor or anything like that. When we show content of our work, we try to highlight the talent of the artist, you know, the quality of the work, the service of the shop. This kind of, like an ad, right? This kind of stuff. You know, and ads have been around forever. So ever since TV, big businesses have had ads and commercials. But if we compare this to music, right? Let's compare this to music. Before rock videos came out, before MTV, you had the greatest music in the world being made, right? You had iconic bands like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, you know, and stuff that I don't like, but you could still say it's good music, right? These were quality musicians who did it for the love of the music. You know, there's hundreds of bands that fall into this category from the beginning of time up until about the 80s, right? When rock music came out, when videos came out, sorry. You know, when videos came out, everything changed, right? It was less about the music and more about what the people looked like and more about the video, right? And then you go into the 90s and the videos just became ridiculous, right? Who could make the most ridiculous, shocking videos, like the Blink 182 videos with the naked girls, as an example, the Eminem videos, the Marilyn Manson videos, you know. And it seems kind of like tattoo might be going into that sort of phase where, you know, music has evolved, where music is shit now, for the most part. All the mainstream stuff is garbage. And it's all just based on packaging and production and videos and imagery, right? The image of the person, right? And, you know, and tattooing is a little bit like that now. You know, I mean, everything's about content and the thing, and it's less about the actual fucking tattoo. You know, like I talk about all the time, people doing the tattoo just for the photograph, right? Just for the Instagram content. Even without the cringy videos and content and stuff, they're just doing the tattoo for the social media clout and the social media picture. Whereas tattooing should be about the actual tattoo's longevity. Is it a good tattoo? Does it fit the body, etc., etc. Right? So there seems to be some sort of parallel with this, you know? And like I said, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just having a chat about it, philosophizing about this turn of events, right? And how, you know, I think we need to just slow down on making the silly videos here and not let social media, because obviously, like with all this stuff, the lowest common denominator dictates what happens, right? If all the shit tattooers are making catchy, attention-grabbing videos, then the good tattooers are going to need to compete with that to get eyes on their stuff. Even if their work is better, the average customer doesn't know a good tattoo from a mediocre tattoo, for the most part, through no fault of their own, right? They just don't know. So then you've got everybody making cringy videos, cringy skits and silly stuff and highly sexualized videos and degenerate kind of content, you know? And I hate to see tattooing slide into this, right? I don't want it to become like, you know, what's happened to hip hop and rock music and all that kind of thing, where it's just all turned to shit, right? So that's kind of my take on that, right? So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I had a guy message me today about the same sort of thing. You know, he's doing the content. His tattooer friend doesn't do socials, hates doing socials, so he's doing it for him, and he's asking for some ideas, you know. And it's kind of shit. If you're a good tattooer and you're making good work, you know, and you care about your clients and your service is good, the fact that you, in this day and age, struggle with success because, you know, you have to also be an actor is kind of silly, right? It used to be really easy back in the old days, before Instagram, before social media, before smartphones. You have a street shop in a decent, or any part of town really, you know, and you just did good tattoos and you weren't an asshole and you showed up on time, you'd be successful. You could, you know, that's pretty much all it took. Be on time, don't rip people off, do a good job, don't, you know, and you could be a successful tattooer and have a good life. And the game has completely changed now, right? So it's just interesting to see how all the different vectors now you have to attack to try and get that same level of success that was very straightforward 20 years ago, right? So that's my thoughts on that. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure a lot of you struggle with the same thing. And even if you're not a tattooer and you run a business, whatever that business is, I mean, where I live out in the country, dudes that do fencing have to have fucking fencing content to try and get attention on Facebook for their ads and on Instagram and stuff, or whether you dig holes for a living or put on roofs. Everyone's making content, right? Trying to get eyes on their stuff, right? And it's making everything fucking ridiculous, right? In other news, though, you know how I've been complaining about, you know, when I used to sit cross-legged tattooing, I was in pain all the time, and I talk about it in my posts sometimes, and that's why I stand now to work. Well, funny story. I went and had an MRI done on my hip recently because it was starting to really fucking hurt. Turns out my hip joint is totally fucked. So from sitting cross-legged for years doing tabori, I've completely destroyed my hip joint and destroyed all the cartilage. So in a little less than 2 weeks, I'm getting a full hip replacement surgery on myself. So I will be out of commission for pretty much a good month and a half of tattooing. So I'll try to do some videos. I might do some lives, might do some writing, you know, I'll do some painting if I can sit in a chair for a long enough period of time. But I will be out of commission. I won't be posting any new content, and I probably won't be around the shop too much as I can't drive for a month. So just want to give you guys a heads up on that. So my advice is, if you have any sore joints, go and get an MRI sooner rather than later and see what's wrong with you. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Like I said, I'll be doing some lives. If you have any ideas for content, ideas for topics of discussion that I haven't touched on already, hit me up in the comments of the DMs, and I'll bring them up if they're good. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later.